Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are setting off on a truly incredible mission, actually.
No, it really is. I've been looking forward to this one.
Same here. So we are cracking open this freshly declassified stack of personal logs, mission reports, and tactical readouts from the Federation starship, the USS Arawyn.
Right, the Arawyn file.
Exactly. And our focal point today is just this single, highly chaotic evening. And the scenario we're looking at, it seems completely impossible on paper.
It sounds like a hallucination, honestly.
It really does. So we have this localized slice of Sherman Oaks, California, circa 1984, and it is entirely frozen in time.
Just perfectly preserved.
Yeah, we are talking kids on bicycles, vintage radios playing synth pop,
Yeah.
and the whole neighborhood is locked in a permanent, unending sunset.
Which sounds lovely right up until you look up at the sky.
Right, because crashing this quiet suburban party are ancient alien warships locked in mortal combat. And if that wasn't enough, there are massive celestial space whales just, swimming through the vacuum of the solar system.
It is a profound collision of the deeply mundane and the hypercosmic.
Yeah, perfectly put.
And what makes these specific logs so compelling isn't just the spectacle. The spectacle's great, but they document the simultaneous breakdown of normal physics, standard operating procedures, and human psychology.
All happening at the exact same moment.
Exactly. Everything falls apart all at once.
So to you, the listener, I want you to imagine a situation where every single decision you make, no matter how well-intentioned, no matter how desperately you are trying to help it, it only makes reality fracture even more.
Like trying to tape a broken window together, but every time you press down on the tape, another pane of glass shatters.
Yes, that is the exact vibe here. Okay, let's unpack this. We actually aren't going to start on the bridge with the red alert sirens blaring and the shields up.
Which is where you'd think we'd start.
Right. But no, we are going to begin this deep dive quietly, down in Counselor Chris Emerson's office, with the Arawyn's chief medical officer, Rhea Amberlin.
The logs from that counseling session provide a very intimate, grounded baseline before the universe completely loses its mind.
Yeah, they really do.
We see a highly capable leader just agonizing over the burden of command versus the heart's true desire.
Because Rhea is confessing a massive secret here. She is the chief medical officer on a Sovereign-class starship.
Which is huge.
It's the pinnacle. For a doctor in Starfleet, that is the dream job millions of people would fight for.
Absolutely.
But she tells Counselor Emerson that she secretly longs to step down. She wants to leave all that prestige behind and just work in veterinary care down in the science department.
Which is such a specific, humble pivot.
It really is. She spends a significant portion of the session talking passionately about saving a cat named Bailey.
Right, the cat with the cleft palate.
Yes, exactly. And she describes feeling this immense, crushing burden because animals are completely at our mercy. They are entirely vulnerable.
They can't vocalize their pain or consent to their
Right.
treatment. And Counselor Emerson's response is a fascinating case study in leadership psychology. She doesn't dismiss Rhea's feelings as, like, stress or battle fatigue.
Which a lot of counselors might do in that high-pressure environment.
Oh, for sure. But Emerson encourages Rhea not to just write the impulse off. She actually invokes Robert Frost's famous poem, The Road Not Taken.
Oh, the line about two roads diverging in a yellow wood.
That's the one. The counselor points out that simply having that capacity for raw empathy is what gives Rhea those career options in the first place.
Okay, but I have to push back here for a second.
Go for it.
Why on earth are we focusing on a career crisis?
Fair question.
The ship is quite literally at yellow alert. There is a terrifying, reality-bending temporal anomaly right outside the hull. The tactical logs show they are moments away from a potential firefight.
Yeah, it's pretty tense.
Reading through Rhea's career anxiety right now, it feels a bit like worrying about changing your college major while the campus library is currently on fire.
It feels incredibly jarring to read. But that juxtaposition is exactly why this detail matters so much.
How so?
Because it perfectly frames the entire thematic architecture of this deep dive. It's about the sheer weight of our choices and the unintended consequences of holding on to something you love.
Okay, I'm tracking.
Think about your own life for a moment, and anyone listening to this too. How often do you hold on to a job, a relationship, or a physical location just because you are terrified of the consequences of changing your path?
You fear disappointing people or losing your status.
Exactly. Rhea's intense desire to protect the vulnerable, that very specific emotional impulse, is the exact same force that is about to tear the fabric of space-time apart on the planet below them.
Wow. Empathy is a destructive force.
Yes. This deeply human element, this quiet agony over care and consequence, grounds the massive cosmic chaos that's unfolding.
That completely reframes the situation for me, because when we look at the bridge logs from that same evening, the chaos is in full swing.
Oh, it is escalating rapidly.
Captain Corbin and Tactical Officer McKinney are staring at the main view screen, and they are looking at a 23rd century Klingon D7 battlecruiser and a Romulan bird of prey.
Which, to the crew of the Arawyn, are literal museum pieces.
Right. But the sensor data confirms they are firing live, highly destructive plasma over a civilian population that doesn't even have cell phones yet.
Yeah, 1984 Sherman Oaks is not equipped for orbital bombardment.
Not at all. One stray shot could glass an entire neighborhood.
So McKinney acts quickly.
He traps both of these warring ships in a wide graviton net.
He essentially paralyzes them to prevent civilian casualties.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Into this frozen Mexican standoff swims something entirely new.
Yeah, the sensors can barely even classify them at first.
The logs refer to them as the Valith. They are described as these massive, pale, serpentine space creatures.
Space whales, basically.
Basically. But they have shimmering fur, they don't have thrusters, they don't have warp nacelles, and they are literally swimming through the vacuum of space.
We're just casually drifting into a war zone.
Right. And Dr. Denross, who is historically the most composed person in any crisis, files a medical observation log where he is completely speechless.
I love that log.
He is just trying to reconcile the sheer biological impossibility of a furry mammal swimming in a vacuum without freezing or boiling.
What's fascinating here is the absolute command restraint demonstrated by McKinney at Tactical.
Oh, definitely.
If you look at the weapons payload of a Sovereign-class ship, he has the firepower to instantly vaporize both of those warring vessels and neutralize the threat to the timeline.
Just end it in one shot.
But he chooses not to. His tactical log explains why. He simply doesn't know if these ships are holographic fabrications. He actually calls them ghosts in the right paint.
That is a great phrase.
It is. He doesn't know if they are ghosts or if they're living, breathing, terrified crews ripped from their own time, bleeding dry plasma and acting out of sheer panic.
Yeah, he specifically notes that the Romulan ship has battle damage matching disruptor scoring, and as the old saying goes, ghosts don't bleed. But I want to pause on McKinney's decision for a second. The tactical protocol for a temporal incursion usually prioritizes neutralizing the anomaly as fast as possible.
Standard operating procedure, yeah.
But Starfleet's primary weapon in this moment isn't a photon torpedo, it's curiosity.
That's a good way to put it. By using the graviton net, McKinney is prioritizing understanding over eradication.
Pinning them in place preserves the truce by removing their ability to escalate.
Right. It gives everyone a chance to breathe and analyze. When you are faced with a threat that you fundamentally do not understand, aggressive action often compounds the error.
It just makes it worse.
Always. McKinney is holding space for a peaceful resolution, even when staring down active disruptor cannons.
Which is such a brilliant distillation of Starfleet philosophy. But holding them in space doesn't solve the problem on the ground.
No, it doesn't.
So the Arawyn's logs show they send an away team down to the surface of the fragment. And to avoid violating the Prime Directive, since it's 1984, they have to disguise themselves as locals.
The visual descriptions in these mission reports are incredible.
Oh, they are so good. You have Rhea Amberlin in baggy, faded boyfriend jeans.
Classic 80s.
Steve Remington is carrying a highly advanced scientific tricorder that he's somehow shoved inside the casing of a chunky early model cassette Walkman.
Which is very clever engineering, honestly.
It is. And then there's Commander Batenburg, who is a Vulcan wearing a highly unfortunate, incredibly bright neon tracksuit.
Oh my gosh, yes. With a sweatband.
Entirely to hide her pointed ears.
The AI subsystem logs add a wonderful layer of levity here, too.
Oh, with Ignis.
Yes, Ignis,
Yeah.
the ship's artificial intelligence. He usually projects himself as a glowing golden fox.
Right.
Well, when requested to project as a black Labrador retriever to blend into the suburban setting, he furiously refuses.
He is so offended by the idea.
He actually logs a formal complaint, stating he would rather stay hidden inside his mobile emitter ring than be deprived of his opportunity to be an unusually attractive, memorable animal.
The sheer vanity of a string of code is a fascinating emergent behavior.
It really is. It adds such a humanizing texture to the crew.
So this team beams down in their neon leg-warmer disguises, but they arrive on a street that is totally, chillingly silent.
Just eerily quiet.
The sun is permanently stuck at sunset. There are no birds, no cars, no wind. And then, without warning, the environmental sensors record a literal physical wave of temporal displacement rolling down the street.
And it's described as moving like a tidal wave, but it's folding the asphalt of the road over itself like a blanket.
Which is a terrifying visual. Security Chief Flamia manages to recalibrate a field emitter just in time to save Commander Batenburg and Rhea.
But officers Ryan Collingway and Steve Remington are swallowed whole by the wave.
They just vanish from the sensors.
Swept away by time itself, it is a sudden and catastrophic escalation of the crisis.
Okay, wait, I have to stop and ask how that is mechanically possible.
What do you mean?
How do Starfleet sensors, which can scan the genetic makeup of a single microbe from orbit, completely miss a literal tidal wave of time coming down a suburban street?
It does seem like a massive blind spot.
It feels like having the world's most advanced weather radar in your living room, but still getting struck by lightning while sitting on your couch.
It's an excellent question, but we have to remember the fundamental nature of what they are standing inside.
The fragment.
Right. The science logs clarify that this isn't a natural anomaly. If it were a natural spatial fold or black hole, Starfleet sensors would have mapped the gravitational shear in seconds.
So what is it?
This environment is an artificial construct that is actively trying to correct itself.
Like a software system running a debug protocol.
Precisely. Imagine a glitching computer program that is suddenly trying to compile conflicting lines of code. The system recognizes the Starfleet officers as foreign malware.
Oh, wow. So the wave is an antivirus sweep.
Yes. When that correction wave hits, it is overwriting all standard physics to delete the anomaly. It isn't bound by the physical rules the tricorders are calibrated to look for.
That makes so much sense.
It is reality rewriting itself in real time to erase the inconsistency of the away team's presence.
I want you, the listener, to think about how often we try to do this in our own lives. We encounter a complex, messy problem, maybe a difficult conversation, or a project going off the rails.
Right.
And instead of understanding it, we try to force a software patch to just smooth it over and make the discomfort disappear. But in doing so, we usually just alienate the people involved even further.
And in this case, the system's attempt to smooth things over essentially quarantined Ryan and Steve.
Right, because we follow their personal logs next, and they aren't dead.
Thankful.
They wake up in a park, still in what looks like Sherman Oaks, but everything is subtly and incredibly off. Ryan thinks he is a stressed student at a college called Arawyn State.
And the logs note that their mascot is inexplicably a rabbit.
Yes, which is such a weird detail.
It's a fascinating subconscious manifestation of the ship's name bleeding into the simulation.
But the cognitive dissonance gets louder. Ryan is sitting on the grass looking at his electrical engineering textbook.
Okay.
But instead of asking about basic 1980s circuitry, the word problems are completely deranged.
How so?
They're asking complex algebraic questions about shield stabilization on space colonies and nanobots taking over the local mall.
Oh, that is so creepy.
And meanwhile, Steve is sitting under an oak tree nearby, entirely convinced he's just suffering a massive hangover at Starfleet Academy after drinking too much imported French wine.
The logs indicate they are trapped in a shared holding frame. It is a psychological quarantine created by that correction wave to keep them docile while the system figures out what to do with them.
I love how you phrase that, a psychological quarantine. It's like waking up inside a cheesy 80s teen movie. You know, you're the stressed college kid cramming for finals in the park.
Right.
But then you reach into your backpack and you find a loaded, futuristic energy weapon. It is the ultimate collision of genres.
It really is.
They bump into each other. Ryan pulls a Starfleet phase pistol and a comm badge out of a hidden pocket in his jacket, and the illusion just shatters.
Immediately.
But why did the illusion include the Starfleet gear in the first place? If the system wanted them docile, why give them the very tools to break out?
Well, this is where the psychology of this deep dive gets truly brilliant.
Okay, lay it on me.
The system didn't give them those tools. Their own minds did.
Wait, really?
Yes, their Starfleet training is actively fighting the artificial reality imposed on them. The illusion is trying to placate them with a sunny day in the park. But Ryan's engineering brain is literally manifesting a textbook that is screaming the truth at him through bizarre, futuristic word problems.
Oh, wow.
And Steve's tactical instincts are giving him a physical reaction, the hangover, to the danger they are in.
The subconscious is acting as an internal alarm bell.
It really is. And I want to pose a question to anyone listening. When your reality feels fundamentally wrong, when the details in your daily life or your relationships just don't add up, Do you ignore the clues to stay comfortable?
A lot of people do.
They do.
Yeah.
Or do you dig in the trash can, pull out the weird device, and confront the truth? Our subconscious often registers threats and inconsistencies long before our conscious mind is willing to accept them.
Ryan and Steve chose to confront the truth. And the truth they uncover leads us to the puppet master of this entire situation.
The one behind the curtain.
Right. The entity responsible for the glitches, the frozen sunset, the time wave, the space whales, all of it. The Arawyn's logs identify him as Aster.
And the xenology reports classify Aster as a juvenile stage 4 of the Meridian.
Which sounds incredibly official and intimidating.
Very ominous.
And typically in these kinds of logs, an entity with the power to freeze time and summon armadas is a malicious space god trying to conquer Earth, or at least play a cruel game of chess with humanity.
A Q-like figure, usually.
Exactly. But I have to point out how subverted that trope is here. Aster isn't a villain.
Not at all.
He is an observer who was assigned to study this human fragment. And his fatal flaw was simply that he felt too much empathy.
He fundamentally violated the rules of observation because he lacked the emotional regulation to handle the distress of his subjects.
The logs detail how he saw the kids playing in the cul-de-sac, heard them say they liked the sunset and wished it wouldn't end. So he just reached into the code of reality and kept the sunset going.
Just a small favor.
Yeah, and then a little boy fell off his bike and scraped his knee, and Aster couldn't stand the sight of the boy crying, so he erased the wound.
He wanted a perfect, painless world for them.
But by opening these little windows into reality to fix minor inconveniences, he accidentally shattered the glass of space-time.
His unauthorized edits pulled in the Klingon and Romulan ships from a completely different temporal window.
Right.
He accidentally intersected with the Valith migration lane, dropping space whales into orbit.
All by accident?
All by accident. And when he tried to hastily fix the street to hide his mistakes, he triggered that correction wave that displaced Ryan and Steve. He was just trying to smooth out the wrinkles, and he tore the entire fabric.
And the climax of this entire incident, the resolution of this massive cosmic threat, it doesn't happen with phasers or photon torpedoes.
No, it's much quieter.
It happens in a child's bedroom on Earth, decorated with rocket ship curtains.
I love that detail.
Aster hides in this room, absolutely terrified. He is terrified of Starfleet, terrified of the humans who are now panicking in the street, and utterly terrified of his own failure.
He's just a kid who broke something.
Exactly. So he uses an internal channel to summon Leora, an older Meridian entity.
And Leora appears through a tiny sliver of light in the room. She is older, incredibly calm, and her intervention, as transcribed in the mission report, is a masterclass in accountability.
It really is striking.
She doesn't coddle him, but she isn't cruel either. Aster expects her to fix it, to just wave her hand and make the scary ships and the angry Starfleet officers go away.
But she tells him she cannot fix it from the outside without shattering the whole frame.
She tells him that he cannot hide and try to hold the broken frame together while he is operating out of fear.
He confesses to her that he is afraid of the Starfleet officers, that they will be angry with him for making such a mess. He desperately wants to keep his pocket dimension locked from the inside.
Yeah, he just wants to shut the world out.
And Leora tells him something that just stopped me in my tracks when I read the transcript.
What was it?
She says, "Fear is not proof of your importance. It is proof that you are no longer the only person inside the consequence."
Wow. That is the pivotal insight of this entire stack of logs.
It hits so hard.
Consider the implications of that for a moment. When we make a mistake, especially a catastrophic one born of good intentions, our immediate instinct is to hide.
Always.
We feel overwhelmed by our own guilt, our own shame, and our own fear. We center ourselves in the narrative of the mistake.
We make our fear the most important thing in the room.
Exactly. But Leora forces him to realize that his fear is a luxury he can no longer afford, because other people, the Klingons, the away team, the kids in the neighborhood, they're actively suffering the physical effects of his actions. She forces him to decenter his own anxiety. She commands him to stop hiding, to actively anchor the displaced officers so they aren't lost in the void. And most importantly, she tells him to open the door and make himself findable to Starfleet.
So what does this all mean when we pull it together?
Well, Aster's character arc is a profound commentary on emotional immaturity wielding immense power.
He was given the capabilities of a deity, but he still possessed the emotional regulation of a teenager.
Right. His empathy became a destructive force because it wasn't tempered by the wisdom to understand that pain and sunsets and scraped knees and even time itself well, they have to be allowed to move forward.
You cannot protect people from the reality of existence without destroying reality itself.
Which brings us full circle beautifully to the very beginning of our deep dive.
It does. Whether you are Chief Medical Officer Rhea Amberlin in sickbay, agonizing over the unintended consequences of changing your career path to care for vulnerable animals,
Or you are Aster, accidentally folding space and time because you wanted to fix a little boy's scraped knee.
the core lesson is identical. It is about facing the consequences of your choices. You can't just hide in a pocket dimension when things get messy.
You really can't.
You can't just lock the door and hope the universe patches the software for you. Eventually, you have to open the door, step out into the street, and make yourself findable.
You have to own the reality you've created, no matter how fractured it has become.
That is so well said.
But I want to leave you, our listener, with one final lingering question to ponder as we wrap up this analysis.
All right, what is it?
We've seen the sheer scale of the chaos in these logs today. We've seen ancient armadas pulled through time, alien leviathans swimming through the solar system, and the fundamental laws of physics overwritten by a panicked thought.
Yeah, total bedlam.
And all of that was caused by an accident. It was caused by a mere juvenile stage 4 Meridian who simply got emotionally overwhelmed and wanted to help.
Just a kid playing with reality's source code?
Exactly. So consider this. What on earth happens when a fully mature Meridian, someone with absolute mastery over these windows of reality, someone who isn't driven by naive empathy, decides that they actually don't like how our universe operates?
Oh man, now there's a terrifying thought to leave ringing in the ears.
It puts things in perspective.
It certainly does. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the Arawyn's files. Keep your eyes open, trust your instincts when the textbook questions get a little too weird, and as always, keep questioning the reality around you.